Mark Twain said comparison is the death of joy. In reality, comparison is the death of many things. In this video, I want to focus on comparison as a way of essentially giving ourselves permission not to try our best. Now, what do I mean by giving ourselves permission not to try our best? Would it not make sense that we would always want to try and that comparison is just a way of seeing our progress? Well, in reality, a lot of the time, when we look to other people, we're essentially comparing ourselves, or at least our image of ourselves, with something in the external world. In the process of doing that, we're moving away from where we are at. Because when you compare, you either compare yourself favourably or not so favourably. So you look out at the world, you see someone else, and they are either more than or less than where you're at. Either way, you're creating an external marker that changes your expectation of yourself. This is fluid, it's malleable, it doesn't stick. And by that I mean, if you look at one person and compare yourself favourably, and then compare yourself not so favourably to someone else, you're constantly adapting and changing your self-image based on where you look. A lot of the time, we may use comparison as a way to give ourselves permission not to try. So by that, I mean looking at someone else who is in a similar position and essentially saying, well, I'm not as skillful as this person. I'm not as funny or confident or intelligent or disciplined or motivated as this person. We become resigned to the fact that because we aren't like this person, we're not going to emulate that success. What this all boils down to is the idea of not being enough. I'm not enough to have what this person has achieved or cultivated within themselves. Therefore, I won't try. So this is the key element of this type of comparison, is when you look at someone else and you absolve yourself of responsibility. This is completely unskilled and it's going to keep you stuck. It's going to lead to a lot of procrastination. There's a weird psychological trap that a lot of us fall into. I've certainly fell into it many times, that deceives us into thinking if we don't actually give 100% and then we fail, then ultimately it doesn't matter because we didn't give 100%. I actually spent most of my secondary school years, in my high school years, with this mindset, just like, oh, well, I'm not really that bothered, so if I don't do well, then it's because I didn't try. I think deep down we're concerned that if we give our everything into something, especially if it's something that we're passionate about, it's something that we dream, but if we give our everything and if we fail, then somehow that's worse. We feel more of a sense of hopelessness around that. There are a few errors with this way of thinking. The first is seeing failure as a possibility. I mean, ultimately, if we have a growth mindset, we understand that every single step of the process is a learning opportunity. So there's no such thing as failure. We give it our best, we don't succeed in the way that we would like, but we've learned along the way, and then the next time we attempt something similar, we can apply that learning. The second error in this way of thinking is to believe those thoughts. So it's actually understandable. We are, by the way that we've evolved, we constantly compare with social animals that always have comparison mechanisms built in, but it's not necessarily the mechanism itself, so it's not necessarily the thinking process or the comparison that's the issue, it's the way we react to it. So if we are completely fused with this act of comparison, we take it as truth, we don't try. The biggest antidote to this type of thinking is self-acceptance. It's looking at where we are at and having the desire to grow. It's also believing in our ability to grow and to change and to achieve things we never thought possible. I encourage you, in any dream that you're looking at, any project that feels so outrageous that you could never really picture yourself doing it, to step back from comparison and to turn all of the focus on yourself in a way that is empowered and in a way that challenges the beliefs you have. Because generally it's the beliefs that hold us back. We all have infinite potential. But if we believe that we're not going to achieve something, we're more likely not to try. We're more likely to act upon the doubts that we have by being inactive in many ways. So the key is to become skillful in the way we look at others. Not to use others as a way of in a sense, validating why we're not able to do what we'd like to do, but looking at traits that you admire, looking at traits that inspire you. And generally, what this does is it shifts the focus from ego separation, which sees others as competition, to a more spiritual and soulful perspective of collaboration, to understand the connection between all of us. Be aware of the ways in which you use comparison to form what essentially is an excuse or a way to avoid taking action. Only try. Always look at yourself, always focus on your own skills and your own abilities, and try, and keep trying, and keep growing, and keep learning. Aim perhaps a little bit outside of your comfort zone. No, forget that. Aim way outside of your comfort zone and see what happens when you push yourself to achieve. It could be that things don't go the way expected, but you will grow. This is all about the process and not the end of the road. It's the steps that you take and learn from that are going to make you grow as an individual, regardless of the outcome. So I hope this video has been useful for you. And as always, please feel free to contact me, to message me on Facebook or by email if you've got any thoughts on how comparison can hold us back from trying our best.